Are you ready to learn how you can lose weight and keep it off for good? Not just lose some weight and then gain it all back and have an even harder time losing it than you did before. I'm talking how you can, for good, lose the body fat, look nice and toned, and actually stay that way for life while having a high-calorie diet and a realistic, balanced lifestyle. That is exactly what I'm going to teach you to do in today's video. There are a lot of steps to go over, but it's going to give you everything you need to know so that you can finally achieve these dream results. So let's get into it. What's going on, Fit Fam? Welcome on back to my channel. My name is Megan Janice, the founder of Nomadic Fitness, and I teach you ladies how to eat more food, not less, and work out smarter instead of harder so you can build that banging hourglass body that you look and feel amazing in and maintain it year-round for life with ease. So if you're new to the channel, make sure to hit that like and subscribe. Come follow me over on Instagram for even more fitness content. And if you're coming on back, thanks so much for joining for another video. Okay, fam, let's talk about what do you need to do to lose that weight and keep it off for good and finally have the fit body you always wanted to. So the reason a lot of people are unable to lose weight and keep it off is because they don't actually know what a fit body is. What does it actually entail? It's nothing more than gaining quite a bit of muscle and keeping your body fat levels relatively low. So when we say lose weight, we really mean we want to lose weight from body fat. But the thing is, if you just take off weight from body fat and you have no muscle underneath, you'll still just look kind of shapeless and mushy, which is obviously usually not what we want. I mean, maybe you'll be a bit smaller, but I'm guessing you want to actually look toned, you want to look snatched and feel really sexy. So that is where it is so important that you are gaining muscle and also keeping your body fat levels relatively low. So how do you do that? That's what I'm gonna break down. You want to do something that is called a reverse diet. So literally, this is the inverse of a diet. This is where you are gradually eating more and more food over time, and then you want to do your calorie deficit. So you've probably heard a lot that in order to lose body fat, you need to be in a calorie deficit. And yes, this is true. But something you don't hear very often at all in this industry is, are you actually in a good position for a calorie deficit? And also just how to optimize your calorie deficit so it works as well as possible with the least misery as possible. This is where the reverse diet comes into play. You want to actually set your body up for a fat loss phase or a weight loss phase. It's really the same thing. Meaning you want to make sure that your body is optimized, that you are eating as much as possible so that you are in a position to drop your calories and have a lot of runway to lose as much weight and as much body fat as possible. The other aspect of this is by doing a reverse diet, by getting your food up nice and high, number one, it is just makes everything way more sustainable because obviously it's much easier to eat more food than it is to eat less. It's gonna give you way more energy, it's gonna make your hormones happier, and most importantly, it's going to make your metabolism faster because the more food your body gets used to eating, the more calories it's going to automatically burn. It's just going to adapt to that. The other thing is that when you're eating more food, you have the resources to build muscle with. So remember, once we take the weight off, we want to look toned underneath, meaning we need to have muscle. So you need to make sure that you're eating enough to be building that muscle in the first place. And then the thing is, as you build muscle, this is also speeding up your metabolism because muscle costs your body a lot of calories. So just as a baseline way of being, you're burning more calories when you have more muscle on your body. Okay, so how do you actually put all this together? What are the steps you need to do? I'm gonna break down both the nutrition and the workout side of it. So the workout side is where you need to be lifting weights. The best way to build muscle is to put resistance on your muscles. And although you can do this to some degree with things like yoga, Pilates, the best way to really stimulate and overload your muscles so that they will grow is by lifting challenging weights. The best way to do this is in a gym, and that's simply just because you have access to all the equipment, all the different weights. However, I know that the gym can be really intimidating, especially in the beginning of your fitness journey, or maybe you're just a busy mom with small children at home, so it's not an option. So yes, you can lift weights from home, but you do need to make sure that you're getting yourself access to good quality equipment. One of the main reasons I see women not getting the results they want is they barely have any equipment to work with. Yes, you can get started with a 5-pound, 10-pound dumbbell. It's better than nothing, but you're gonna max that out really quickly. So you wanna make sure that you actually have something to stimulate your muscles with, and this is also going to help you lose weight and keep it off for good because of the fast metabolism and being toned underneath. So for my clients who want to work out at home, I always make sure that they get the Bowflex adjustable dumbbells or something like this. These are dumbbells that go anywhere from 5 pounds all the way up to 55 pounds per dumbbell. So that gives you a lot to work out with at home. And then maybe down the line, we can see about getting you in the gym a little bit just to have access to that equipment as well some of the time to really build all that tone definition and speed up metabolism. But this is what you want to get started at home. You need to have some basic equipment to work with. Now, as far as how often you need to lift, really, I think the sweet spot is 4 days a week. This would be 2 lower bodies and 2 upper body days. And you only need to do about 5 to 6 exercises per workout. So this should only take you about 45 minutes to 1 hour. Now, when it comes to building muscle and then burning fat and staying this way, looking really toned for good, the most important thing is that you are really challenging yourself in your workouts. One of the main areas that women can improve is just the intensity they bring to their workouts. So this means you really just want to push yourself as hard as you can within the exercises that you're doing. So instead of doing all kinds of different exercises and making your workout really long, do just a few exercises, but really make them count by pushing yourself to your limit within what you do. So I have lots of different workout videos on this channel, and I talk about this idea in more detail in those workout videos. So I'll put it here and also link in the description if you want to go look at the workout side of the equation more. Okay, let's talk about the nutrition side. And when it comes to losing weight, the nutrition is the biggest factor that is really going to take that fat off your body. Now, don't get me wrong, you also absolutely need the workout side, because remember, muscle is going to speed up your metabolism and you won't look toned without muscle. And the only way to build muscle is to train, to work out in a way that's going to build that muscle. But you need to be eating the right way to be supporting that. So a big mistake that a lot of people do when they're trying to get fit is they just try to eat clean, eat healthy. And the thing is, when it comes to losing fat and gaining muscle, it is not so much just what you eat, it is more how much you eat. And I don't mean eat very little, by the way. It is more about eating the right amount of protein, fats, and carbs that is correct for your body and your goals. So how do you know what the correct amount is? I'm going to explain in this video. But first, I'm going to highlight this with 2 client examples that I have helped lose a ton of weight, and they are now maintaining it via doing this reverse diet and then cutting, which I'll be explaining exactly how to do. So this is my client, Steph, who definitely had quite a bit of body fat she wanted to lose when she first joined coaching. But when we first did her test week of tracking her intake to see how much food she was eating, she was only averaging about 1,600 calories a day. So this is just not enough food to then start dropping your calories for a deficit. And that's what a lot of people would think. They would think, okay, I want to lose weight. Why don't I just start dropping my calories? Well, if your intake is not high enough, you cannot rush into that. And this is where the reverse diet, AKA increasing your food, makes so much more sense. So what I did with her is I brought her calories up bit by bit, all the way up to just under 2,200 calories a day. Now in this process, she only lost about 2 pounds, so it wasn't like she was losing a ton of weight, but her body composition, AKA the way she looked, was improving, even if it wasn't super drastic yet. But then what we did is we were able to move into the cut, and then we cut all the way down to about 1,600 calories a day. So she was able to go from 2,200 to 1,600. So she had so much room to drop her calories. Literally, she was able to finish the cut where she had started, and this time she lost 20 pounds doing it. So if she had just tried to drop her calories to lose weight only at 1,600, where would she have ended up? She would have been eating about 1,000 calories a day, which would have pissed off her hormones, slowed down her metabolism, made her lose muscle, made it impossible for her to gain any muscle. So this is why you want to eat up first before you start cutting. And so now what I'm doing with Stephanie is she is now doing a second reverse diet after the cut. So this is the real secret to all of this that I want to talk about today, is that you need to have an exit strategy for your fat loss phase. And this is where a lot of people go wrong, is they just go into a calorie deficit, they're eating super restrictively, but then they have no way of getting out of it. So if you want to be able to maintain your results at a much higher intake, this is where you're going to need to reverse diet once again. And the crazy thing, and I see this happen a lot with clients who have weight to lose, is actually as we start the reverse out of her cut, she's continuing to lose more weight. So she's actually down now 25 pounds. So she's lost about another 5 pounds since we finished her cut. by increasing her food. So she's now up to 2,000 calories a day when we had finished her cut at around 1,600. So the reason that that happens is because your metabolism is speeding up. The fact that you are getting your body conditioned to eating more food means that your body is burning through more calories, which means that you are losing weight more efficiently eating more. Literally, who doesn't want that? Okay, so now that you've seen a client example of what this looks like, let me explain how you can set yourself up to do this reverse cut reverse to lose the weight, get toned, and stay that way for good. Okay, the first thing you're gonna wanna do is a test week of tracking. So download the app MyFitnessPal, and what you're going to do is you're gonna track everything, and I mean everything, that you eat every day for 7 days straight. And then you're going to find the average of those 7 days. And then this is going to be your starting amount of calories. So let's say you tallied up the 7 days, and once you averaged it out, you found out you were eating 1,600 calories, like my girl Stephanie was. Then you know that this is where you want to start. And what you're going to do is you're going to set macros from here. Macros being your protein, fats, and carbs. So the way you're going to set your protein is you're going to pick anywhere between 130 to 150 grams of protein per day. The closer to 1 gram per pound of body weight, the better. However, let's say in your test week of tracking, you found that you're eating really low protein, maybe like 50 grams a day. It's probably too much of a stretch to have you suddenly eat 150 grams. I mean, if you can, go for it. But usually with my own clients, I like to gradually work them up so that they're not suddenly having to adjust to eating so much more protein, because it is a bit of a lifestyle change for people. So once you've set your protein somewhere in there, the next thing you're gonna do is set your fat. So your fat is going to take up somewhere between 25 to 30% of your calories. So what you would do is you would take 1,600, multiply it by 0.3, and then you're going to get the total amount of calories that goes to fat. Then what you would do is divide that by 9 and get the total amount of grams to fat, because 1 gram of fat is 9 calories, whereas 1 gram of protein and carbs is 4 calories. Now you would have your calories to protein and your calories to carbs. So you would add up the total of what those calories are, and then whatever is left over is the calories that's going to go to carbs. You would divide those calories by 4 to get your total number for carbs. So I know that that was a lot. I have videos where I break this down more slowly, more in depth. So you can go click on that in the description or here if you want to figure out exactly how to set your macros. Okay, so now let's talk about how you actually track macros accurately. So a lot of people say that they're tracking their macros, but they're not actually doing it correctly. And this can be a big reason why you are not seeing the fat loss and muscle gain that you want. The way that you correctly track macros is using a digital kitchen scale, okay? So not just tracking saying 1 cup, 1 tablespoon of this, like being really lackadaisical about it. The reason why is because there's just so much room for error using those types of measurements versus when you actually weigh something to the gram or to the ounce, you know for sure that that is the amount because you literally weighed it out precisely. Now, a lot of people think that using a kitchen scale seems so crazy and like obsessive, but the thing is, if you're already putting in all this energy to try to get fit, but you're kind of guessing when it comes to your food, literally your food is the #1 thing that is going to determine the results you get. So why are you wasting your time and energy when you could just dial it in a tiny bit more and for sure know that you're doing things right? So use a digital kitchen scale. Now the next thing you want to do is you want to actually pre-log your day of eating in MyFitnessPal. So you want to plan out, this is what I'm gonna eat for breakfast, lunch, dinner, all my snacks, any milk or sugar that I'm gonna put in my coffee, any condiments, things like that. Then you're going to actually track each ingredient. So for example, if you are tracking a bowl of oatmeal, you're gonna say, okay, it's 60 grams of rolled oats, it's 200 grams of milk, it's 100 grams of banana, it's 20 grams of my protein powder, etc., etc. You wanna actually specify each ingredient. Do not just say, oh yeah, I had a chicken burrito and just pick any chicken burrito on MyFitnessPal because you have no idea what's in that burrito, right? You need to specify the actual ingredients. And the thing is, you're preparing the food yourself. So all you need to do is put together something that you enjoy and then simply plan it out and follow that plan. So I also have videos where I show you my full day of eating and I show you how I decide ahead of time everything that I'm gonna eat so I can be sure that I hit my macros. So you can check that out here if you wanna see exactly how to do this step by step. Okay, now you have your macros, now you have your workouts, so now you are ready to start your reverse diet. Really, I think that everybody should do at least a little bit of a reverse diet before they do anything else, because generally speaking, you're gonna be able to increase your calories at least somewhat and have your metabolism get a little bit faster. And in this period of time, by doing your macros correctly and by lifting weights, you're already gonna start to see some body fat come off and some muscle gain come on, usually. So when would you stop a reverse diet? It really depends on how your body's responding, but generally speaking, I usually want women to go up to about 2,000 calories a day as the bare minimum before they start dropping their calories. And honestly, the vast majority of women I'm able to take past this. I'm usually able to take clients up to around 2,200 calories, maybe as much as even 2,500 calories a day before I start cutting them. And again, we're able to do this just because we see in their photos that their body composition is improving, meaning they are losing body fat, gaining muscle. So they're actually looking better as we are eating more food. And in some cases, they're actually losing weight as we are increasing the food. So that definitely gives you the green light to continue your reverse. Now, there are some women maybe who are coming in who have a lot of body fat to lose, who maybe are fairly sedentary in their lifestyle. They're a bit older and they've kind of struggled to lose weight. I'd say for these women, you want to get up to about 1,800 calories a day before you start cutting. So that would really be the bare minimum. But most women, like I said, are going to be able to get into the low 2,000s, if not even the mid 2,000s before they have to cut. Okay, so how do you actually adjust your calories for this reverse diet? What you're going to do is you're going to make sure that you're actually adherent to your macros 5 or 6 days a week. When you're reversing, it can be as much as 5, meaning that you have 2 days where you can have free meals, meaning you can have a cheat meal, something that is not being tracked perfectly in your macros. So at least 5 days of adherence where you're hitting your macros within 5 grams plus or minus. That is how dialed in it needs to be for you to actually be adhering. Now, assuming that you're doing that, what you want to be doing next is actually evaluating how your body's responding. So you're going to do this 3 ways. The first is that you're going to weigh in every single day, first thing in the morning, before eating or drinking anything, and after using the bathroom. Then you're going to actually put this into a chart. So don't just write it in a notes app, chart it so that you can see the trend over time, because that is what matters most of all, is to see what is the overall direction happening. Are you tending to maintain your weight? Are you tending to drop? Are you tending to gain? This is what you want to know. Now, the other thing is you want to take weekly progress photos, because just because the scale might be going up doesn't mean that you look worse. Gaining weight on the scale does not always mean gaining body fat. So this is why you need to see what you actually look like in pictures. And something that happens a lot in a reverse diet, by the way, is you may not necessarily be losing any weight. Your weight is pretty much maintaining, but your body is starting to look so much better. And that is because fat is coming off as muscle is coming on. So this is another reason to be taking photos. The last thing you want to consider is your biofeedback. So you want to be thinking, okay, was I on my menstrual cycle this week? Because, you know, it'd be normal to experience a little bit of water retention if that's the case. You want to see what your hunger levels are like, because that's another thing that's going to happen in the reverse diet, is you're going to start to get hungrier as you're increasing your calories. So if your weight is overall trending downwards, that is definitely the green light to be increasing your food a little bit. You're generally going to increase somewhere between 60 to 100 calories, the majority of it to carbs. So usually you would do a 15-gram increase in carbs, that would be 60 calories. And let's say you're feeling quite hungry, you could go a little bit higher, up to as much as 100 calories and do 25 grams of carbs. Now, every couple of increases, you also want to increase your fats, because you always want to keep your fats in that kind of 25 to 30% range. So let's say you increase 5 grams of fat, you would also do maybe 5 to 10 grams of carbs on top of that. So if scale is trending down, if you are feeling hungry, you can do this even as much as every week, but generally speaking, it's going to be somewhere between every 1 to 2 weeks. Now, like I said, a lot of the time you're going to see that the scale is maintaining, but you're looking better in your photos. So this is where I would probably do an increase. It can be every week, but maybe every other week, just to give your body a little bit more time to adjust to the food, and you're not increasing too quickly that your body is not really actually getting to adapt. Now, the other option is that you are starting to gain a little bit of weight in your reverse. Now, remember, this does not mean that you are gaining body fat. That is just not going to happen if you are being really adherent to your macros and you're also training hard in your workouts. But all that it means is just that you are holding on to some water weight, you're having some gut weight from the food, and you're also having some glycogen weight, which is the energy from carbs that we store inside our muscles. But nonetheless, let's say you're somebody who has weight to lose and you do notice that the scale is trending up a little bit, I would definitely not be increasing. I would be giving your body a little bit more time to adapt, and you might just have to take your reverse a little bit slower. Some people do just need more time, but one thing that you can do to try to help push things along is making sure you're taking good care of yourself. Good sleep, managing your stress, getting your steps up, and really training hard in the gym. Those things should definitely help to start getting your body hungrier, and that way you can start to eat more food. Okay, so this is literally the process that you're going to be doing, increasing your food bit by bit, and you're going to do this all the way to where you feel like you should be ending your reverse. And again, you want that to be ideally in the low 2,000 calories a day, assuming you still now have a good bit of weight weight to lose, which is going to be the case for a lot of people. Now, this is where you would start your cut. You would go into the fat loss phase. So what do you do when you're cutting? Right away, to start your cut, you're going to have a drop in calories that is a little bit more drastic. So you're going to take off your fats and carbs. You're not going to take from your protein. So let's say your calorie intake is about 2,000 calories a day or less. I would just drop only 200 calories. But if your intake is a little bit higher, you know, maybe you're eating like 2,300 or more, I would drop 300 calories just because you have the room to drop a little bit more to create more of a deficit. So you've dropped your calories. Now you're going to start hitting your macros 6 days a week, okay? When you're cutting, when you're in this fat loss phase, you really, really need to dial in. And this is where you can only have 1 free meal a week instead of 2. Now this is temporary, it's only in this phase. Once you're done cutting, you can go back to having a little bit more flexibility. The way you wanna look at cutting is you wanna get in and get out and just lose the body fat and keep it off. The other thing is you wanna add in a little bit of cardio. So usually I would start off with 2 sessions of 30 minutes of cardio per week. So I would do the Stairmaster at a chill pace, or at least I would do incline treadmill, and again at a chill pace, but because it's at an incline, you're still getting your heart rate elevated. You want it to be somewhere between 130 to 150 beats per minute. So if you have a watch, you can check out to make sure that that's around where you are. Okay, so how do you progress through your cut? So long as you are seeing that the scale is trending down overall. So you should be seeing that you are hitting a new low on the scale every 2 to 3 weeks. You know, sometimes it will happen every week, but if you haven't seen a new low on the scale within 2 to 3 weeks and you've had perfect adherence, meaning you've been within 5 grams plus or minus of your macros 6 days a week, you've been hitting all your cardio, all your workouts, you're managing your sleep and stress. If you're doing all this and it's been 2 to 3 weeks and you haven't seen any new drop in the scale, this is when you would make an adjustment. So you would either drop another 100 calories from your food, or you would try to increase your activity. You would add in another 30 minutes of cardio, or you would get your steps up even higher, you know, going up to maybe 10,000 steps a day or more. So this is what you're going to do to lose weight. Literally just rinse and repeat this process, and it should take you somewhere between about 5 to 6 months to lose around 20 pounds. I mean, again, this is going to depend on how much fat you have to lose. Some people definitely can maybe lose as much as 30 pounds. Some people it's going to be only maybe 10 pounds. It's going to be kind of relative to how overweight you are to begin with, because the less weight you have to lose, the less weight you can lose doing this. Now, once you do get to the point of finishing your cut, you're hitting about that 5-6 month mark, you're starting to feel really tired, you're really just kind of like hitting the breaking point. That's when you know you need to stop. And this is where you would once again reverse diet out of the cut. So this is how you now bring your calories back up to a nice high intake, bit by bit, exactly the same way you did going into the cut, so that you can maintain your fat loss results, the fat loss success you've had at a higher intake, and give your body a break from cutting. You would want to do this at least for a couple of months before going back into a cut, assuming you still have more weight to lose, which is normal. A lot of people are going to need to do more than 1 cut to lose all the weight they want. Or if you've gotten to a point that you're lean enough, you can actually move into the building phase, where you do a calorie surplus to gain more muscle, really gain as much as you possibly can, and really look as fit as possible. All right, fam, I know that that was a lot of information. It's honestly quite a lot to know to really get an amazing fit physique, and this is why people get coaches. I myself have a coach, and this is why I have a coaching company where we help women just like yourself lose body fat, build that sexy muscle definition, all while doing it very sustainably and getting them an amazing transformation that lasts for good. So if you don't want to have to figure any of this out, you literally just want to be told exactly what to do, click on the link in description, fill out an application for coaching, and we would love to chat with you and see if you're a good fit to work with us to finally get the results you always wanted. All right, Fit Fam, thanks so much for checking out this video. Now in this one here, I'm going to walk you through how you set up your macros for the day, how you can be sure you're eating the right amount that you need to be eating, and you're not going to end up scrambling trying to hit those macros by pre-logging your food. So I will see you in that video.